Let's head to Wimmera football, which are playing this weekend. If you're in the Horsham district, you're not playing this weekend. Scotty Stewart from the Warrack Herald has the latest, and he joins me. G'day, Scotty. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, Wayne. How you going?
Real good. I'm just asked you about Horsham district programming because I know that you cover a lot of that in the Herald, but you wouldn't have had any games to preview this week because there aren't any. Is that a strange programming? Just, because I think we had the June long weekend not long ago.
Yeah, that's the stranger part about it, I suppose, isn't it? Just having a long weekend 3 weeks ago, and they had a bye then, and they're going to have another one this week. I was talking to a couple of people during the week, and I think it sort of stems from when they started. I think they started the week before Easter, so I don't know. That's the way they put their scheduling up. But it's a bit weird. You have 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, you had a week off, and then had another one this week. So, but it's all into their scheduling for the season, and they've got to do it that way. So, it is what it is, I think.
It is. Well, I'll tell you what it is that the Store Warriors have arrived. They've inflicted the first bit of real pain on the Ararat Rats, and I'll tell you what, there is a new kid in town. It is 61 to 56, but what about Ararat kicking 6 goals, 20 if you don't mind, on their own home deck? What a win by Stall.
Yeah, it would have been a weird game, wouldn't it, to watch this one? I was thinking Matty Wilder might have been scratching his head down there for the first 3 quarters, to be held to 2 goals. But like as you said there, they were pretty inaccurate, 2-12 to 3-quarter time. But the Stall boys, well, I think we've touched on Stall a bit, haven't we, during the last few weeks. That they're putting themselves right up there, and that win last week, putting them in 2 games in the top 3 was so important to them last week to hang on and get that win, because that's basically what they did in the end. When they look at that last quarter and how they've sprung to life, haven't they? 4 goals, 8 in the last quarter, but Stall was lucky to get that 1 goal, and that was the one they needed to get that 5-point win. So real important for Stall. They wanted to get that win and maintain that 2-goal break on the sides below them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, early in the season, it was a very solid performance by Ararat. They beat them in that game, which is the Easter game, 18-12 to 10-11. So Ararat had Stall's measure there, and that was at Central Park. On that occasion, too, interestingly enough, Ararat's Tom Mills kicked 5 goals, and I just wonder whether there's, since that time, and their forward structure not been quite as structured as they did have early in the season, that's had an impact, I think, on them. Bates getting 3 as their only multiple goal scorer.
Yeah, you are right there, and I think Tommy, he might have kicked a bags of 9 and 8 at the start of the year as well, and I think he's still leading the goal kicking in the Wimbledon League. But wasn't around, hasn't been around. Probably he's missed probably 3 or 4 of the last few games. So probably does unsettle him up in the forward line there, because he's a big target, and he's a good goal kicker too.
He certainly is. The Horsham D's got over nil as we expected, 17-17, 119 to the nil side, 5-11-41.
Pretty comprehensive again. The Horsham were favoured to win that, and did. They probably weren't banking on the Store boys knocking over Ararat. They might have thought they would have closed to within 4 points on the ladder, but not to be. But they did the job, and did it pretty well by the looks of it.
Yeah, they did it. And Minya Matoa did the job. After a slow start, they came out of the blocks in the second half and added 8 goals for in the third quarter to 1 goal. And the Horsham Saints led it at half time by a couple of points. At 3-quarter time, they were about 30-something points behind.
Yeah, big quarter, wasn't it, by the looks of that? They've sprung to life the Boroughs in that third quarter, 8 goals to 1, and what'd you say, a couple of points down into about a 7-8 goal lead. So showed their class in that, and they'll premiership quarter. She's come to the fore for the Boroughs last week. But looking through their best playlists, and a lot of key names who were up and about by the looks of them. So another important win for the Burrows.
Yeah, Kieran Delahunty, Willie Holmes, Briley Cameron, Jay McGrath kicked 3, Nick Kelson and Corey Morgan was amongst it too with 3 goals, and Oscar Gorworth booted 3. On the other side, Noel Chambers and Becca Irwin both booted 2. Sam Klein best for the Saints in what would be a disappointing loss for them, because they want to keep that 5th place, or at least get to 5th place and stay there with the Dimmy side coming quickly at them. And finally, it was Dimboola won 16-12, 108 to beat the Giants 14-8-92. This game largely at Dimboola went with the breeze, whoever got it whichever quarter, and the last quarter Dimmy had it and came home with a wet sail and won it.
Yeah, that's the fluctuating fortunes, isn't it, in this game? Yeah, exactly right what you say about the score lines in each term, and the Giants jumped out of the blocks, and which they would have been pretty happy about, because they've had that trouble with that scoring over the last few rounds, and but they were pretty well on the ball last week, pretty accurate too, 13-4 by three-quarter time. But I think as you said, the conditions may have played a part, and with Jimmy getting a bit of a sniff of putting another 4 points on the board, they weren't going to let that one slip, especially on their home track. But that must have been a good game. Yeah, I said the big fella Trengo's bagged 6 of them, but for Dimmy though, their midfield, your Hayes, Ross, and these sorts of fellas playing well again, and John Ross has kicked another 3 goals, so he's really topping off his work at the moment.
He's a really good player. Our Rats still lead the competition. Minyip Matoa also up there at 8-1, but then Stawell at 6-3, Horsham D's at 4-5, and then Dimboola at 6-3. Well, really, in the context of it, they're with that score 3-6, but in the 5, and Horsham Saints out of the 5 on percentage. Southern Valley Giants are a game adrift, but have a chance to redeem them this weekend. Who's going to win? Massive game. Beulah, your blokes, Warrack Warrack Eagles and the Brim boys come up against the old foe, the Beulah boys at Beulah.
Yeah, they certainly do, and it's going to be an interesting battle this weekend. The Giants, we've sort of spoken about them. They're going to come back. There's no doubt about that. They might have dropped 7 in a row with circumstances, whatever's happened with them, whether it's injuries or player unavailabilities or whatever. But I think this weekend, and I sort of thought that if you go back a few rounds ago, that when these boys were struggling, that these players were going to return, and I think this weekend most of those boys are going to be up and about for this clash. And this is a game where the Eagles have never beaten the Giants since the Giants come into the Women's League, so that continues. So it might be a bit of motivation for the Eagles boys to put in a big effort, because also you look at the ladder there you just mentioned it, and the Giants and the Eagles, they're both on 8 points. The Giants got a better percentage, and we'll preview the Dimboola Minyip Matoa game after this, but the Giants I think will probably have the best chance of their percentage to sneak back into the top 5, which will be a pretty good effort, as we say, without coming off that 7-game losing streak. But, they can put a couple more wins on the board, and they're going to challenge. But that's the same with the Eagles. So if they can get put some consistency together is probably the best part of saying it with the Eagles. Put 4 quarters together, and they'll give themselves a good shot. They're coming back from a couple of weeks off, haven't played since the long weekend, so they'll be fresh. So I know they've got 4 boys coming back into that side, and Jake Cheney has a key defender down there, and Caleb Powell, hold down a couple of key position posts, and a couple of young fellas in Dan Penny coming back from a wrist injury from a few weeks off, and Decky Powell. So that'll help Danny Bell and the coaching staff. So it should be a good game this one. I think it's going to be played in good conditions, and up in Beulah should be a good crowd too.
Well, big crowd and a great day of football. Quick tip: our Rat should beat nil.
Yes, you would only couldn't say that, can't you? 12-0. Copping a team on top of the ladder is coming off their first loss, so yeah, it'd be a tough battle.
Long road trip for the Rats, but they'll get home pretty late, but with a win. Minyip Matoa and Dimmy, you mentioned them as the preview. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think this one's this match of the round. This one with Dimmy, that's really going to show how they're going at the moment. Obviously, we saw them a few weeks ago, and they were pretty potent, and they were playing some pretty good footy. And coming off last week's win, also against the Giants, they'll be confident enough. And really, as I said before, they really do need to win the game to maintain that spot in the top five. But up against the Boroughs, they're pretty consistent, aren't they? And they just seem to find a way to answer challenges, which was proven last week when they were challenged in that first half. I think he 8 goals to 1 in a quarter footy and blew the game apart. So I'm sort of thinking that the Boroughs might win this one. I think it's at Minip, so on their home track, and just that's the way they play. Their forward setup's pretty good. They might just have enough to trouble the Roos, but yeah, good game this one though. Yeah, match of the round, and one of the games of the season. This one.
Oh, certainly is. And I'll tell you what, when they played last time, she was a beauty. A last quarter, a charge from Dimmy saw them fall short, 9-14-68 to 11-9-75 on that occasion. It is a big game. I'm going to tip Dimboola in a little upset here. The final one is the match to be played. This time is between the two Horsham sides, and your tip.
It's a big Sunday game, this one. The traditional rivals, as they played the Anzac game earlier in the season, and now they come back to Coglan Park for this one. And again, it should be a good game. Horsham, they sitting in fourth spot there. They won't want to drop this one. This is a pretty important game in context of the top five, and I think they will. I reckon they're probably enough to handle the Saints. They produced those couple of good games there over the last few weeks, but probably come back a little bit last weekend with that loss to Minamatoa. So yeah, it's again really important for them to get the points to push it. If they win the game, they're in the top five. That's the bottom line really with the Saints. But yeah, just not sure if they will. I think Horsham might be just a tad too strong, and they might put a little bit of a break on them on the ladder. Be a 2-game break.
Yeah, it will be, and it'll be a very important break too, given where the Southern Mallee Giants and also the Dimboola Roos are coming from and coming at them. Two very good sides in senior footy in Wimmera, and they're playing this weekend. They're not in the Horsham district, so big crowds expected as some of the district people will come and watch these games that are unfolding in Wimmera football. And Scotty, we'll catch up with you next time.
Yeah, no worries, Wayne. Good night.